Here is the latest news from Burkina Faso.
In recent years, Africa has been facing one of its greatest challenges: security. From terrorism in the Sahel region to political instability and foreign interference, the continent has often found itself dependent on external powers for military support and defense systems. However, a new wave of leadership is beginning to change this reality. At the center of this movement stands Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, who has become a symbol of African sovereignty and resilience. His approach to defense is not just about protecting borders. It is about restoring dignity, building self-reliance, and ensuring that Africa can secure its own future. Under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso has prioritized the creation of defense strategies that are truly African in nature. For decades, many African nations relied on foreign military forces or external aid to handle threats such as insurgencies and armed groups. While these interventions brought temporary relief, they also created a cycle of dependency that limited Africa's ability to stand on its own. Traoré has made it clear that this pattern must end. His call for African solutions to African problems has resonated across the continent, inspiring new initiatives to develop local defense industries, strengthen national armies, and promote regional cooperation. One of the most striking aspects of Traoré's defense policy is the emphasis on self-sufficiency in military technology. Traditionally, African countries have imported weapons, vehicles, and defense equipment from Europe, America, or Asia. So this has not only drained resources, but also left nations vulnerable to political pressure. Recognizing this, Traoré has encouraged investment in African research, engineering, and local production of defense tools. From drones designed for surveillance of vast rural areas to armored vehicles adapted for the Sahel's rough terrain, Burkina Faso is beginning to show that Africa can design and manufacture what it needs without waiting for others. At the same time, Traoré understands that defense is not just about weapons and soldiers. It is also about unity and morale. For this reason, he has worked to strengthen the bond between the military and the people. In Burkina Faso, defense is now seen as a collective effort where civilians and soldiers cooperate to secure their communities. Programs have been launched to train young volunteers, equip local defense groups, and ensure that rural populations are included in national security strategies. This people-centered approach makes the fight against terrorism not just a military mission, but a movement for national survival and pride. The vision also extends beyond Burkina Faso. Traoré has been a vocal supporter of regional alliances, especially among Sahel countries such as Mali and Niger. Together, these nations face common threats from extremist groups and external exploitation. By cooperating in intelligence sharing, joint operations, and mutual support, they are laying the foundations for a defense system that is African-owned. This regional solidarity reduces reliance on foreign powers, strengthens bargaining positions, and builds confidence among African nations that they can stand as equals on the global stage. The economic dimension of defense under Traoré is also important. By developing local defense industries, African countries can create jobs, train skilled workers, and stimulate innovation. Instead of spending billions on imports, resources can circulate within the continent, boosting growth and reducing poverty. For young Africans, this provides both employment and a sense of purpose, showing that defending the nation is not just about fighting, but also about building. Of course, challenges remain. Building a strong defense sector requires funding, infrastructure, and political will. Some critics argue that Africa is not yet ready to compete in advanced military technology. But Traoré's philosophy is not about matching the world's superpowers overnight. It is about taking the first steps toward independence. Even small achievements in local production, regional alliances, and people-centered defense strategies are significant victories in the long struggle for sovereignty. In conclusion, Africa's defense under Ibrahim Traoré is more than a military project. It is a movement of liberation. By rejecting dependency, promoting self-reliance, and uniting African nations, Traoré has set an example for leaders across the continent. His message is clear: Africa cannot be free until it can defend itself. The defense vision he champions is not about war, but about peace, dignity, and control over Africa's destiny. If this vision continues to grow, the future may see an Africa that is no longer vulnerable, but strong, proud, and sovereign in every sense. Thank you for watching. Subscribe my channel for more updates.